This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network and the X-Zone Broadcast Network, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to give us a call worldwide, toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is John Marinelli. He is going to be talking to us about hypnosis. Now, John is a strategic life coach. He is a certified master hypnotist, hypnotherapist specializing in 5-path modalities, and a 7-path instructor who provides fast and long-lasting results to those wanting to overcome some of life's toughest issues. Mr. Marinelli specializes in smoking habits and getting rid of that lousy habit so many people have, addictions, anxiety and stress management, motivation, emotional healing, weight management, improving mood, eating disorders, self-esteem, grief and loss, sexual issues, anger management, road rage, fears and guilts, recovery and healing, improving sleep, sports enhancement, chronic pain management, and self-hypnosis. Joining me now from Niagara-on-the-Lake is our good friend John Marinelli. Hey, John, welcome to the X-Zone.
Hi, Rob. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great, thanks, John. John, tell me, has hypnosis started to finally gain recognition? I mean, the recognition it so rightfully deserves, because it does help a lot of people.
Well, absolutely. There's been a lot of research being done from the scientific aspect of it. They're bringing us out of the dark ages, so to say, and we're starting to join the cognitive sciences as far as the traditional medicine is concerned, and the psychological organizations.
John, how different is therapeutic hypnosis compared to the stage hypnosis that we're all aware of, thanks to the guys like the Great Ravine?
Well, what happens in the stage hypnosis is it's nothing to be fair. It's used as entertainment purposes. From the therapeutic aspect, what we do is we get more into the feelings associated to an issue that may be prevalent. Okay,
All right, so I guess stage hypnosis is basically, like you say, it's for people to have a good time, and yet therapeutic
Absolutely.
is when you target and focus after one or a number of associated what can we call them, negative traits that you wanted to get rid of.
Absolutely.
Now, what is the history of hypnosis? How far back in time does hypnosis go?
We can take it back to probably it probably started to come about in around the 1800s when Mesmer actually made it available to people, and they started going across the country, this type of thing, right?
And I believe that's where the word mesmerized come from?
Absolutely.
John, you and I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. Please stand by. John Marinelli is our guest, X-Zone Nation. His website is www.marinelli-hypnosis.com. That's www.marinelli-hypnosis.com. Once again, Marinelli-hypnosis.com. We'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break talking about hypnosis as the X-Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network and X-Zone Broadcast Network. Once again, our toll-free number worldwide, 1-800-610-7035. My email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. John Marinelli and I will return on the other side of this 2-minute break, talking more about hypnosis. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Is our special guest, www.marinelli-hypnosis.com. John, what are some of the myths and misconceptions about hypnosis?
Well, most people, they're conditioned by the movies and television to think of hypnosis as an evil tool that's used by these scowling, menacing figures that live in the forest. These shady characters are a far cry from professional hypnosis or the professional hypnotist. And what happens, these negative portrayals that we get sort of degrade the value of the state of hypnosis, and it's a spread of misinformation. What people have to realize is that they shouldn't fear that they'll lose control when they're hypnotized. As a matter of fact, fear, we find, is the greatest barrier to successfully being hypnotized. There's no evidence or any scientific nature that supports any claims that hypnosis makes a person take actions against their core fundamental values or their morals. So there's absolutely no proof or evidence that hypnosis either weakens a subject's willpower or it makes a person dependent when they're not prior to hypnosis. So the other thing too is, like, hypnotized subjects will not use fantasies as a catalyst for behavior that conflicts with their ethical code. And hypnosis doesn't cause any harm to the subjects. There's no cases that have ever been medically documented that it's harmful. So I guess it can safely be said that it's in no way dangerous at all.
Is it true, John, that if a person does not want to be hypnotized, they can't be hypnotized?
I'm sorry, they cannot be hypnotized?
That's right. If somebody does not want to be hypnotized.
This is correct. Yeah. I mean, you have to be willing. It's the experience that you have to have. If we don't have a willing participant, it won't work for you. That's the bottom line.
Tell me, John, what does it feel like to be hypnotized?
I'm sorry, Rob. I didn't hear you.
Okay, what does it feel like to be hypnotized?
Being hypnotized is really a state of heightened consciousness. There's a common myth is that you'll actually lose consciousness, but that's just not true. You're going to be much more aware than before, and this is because you're highly focused and you're concentrated and you're in a relaxed state. Usually what happens after the first hypnosis sessions, participants often say that the hypnotic induction was much different than they expected. So they have pre-established opinions of hypnosis, and it makes the subject think that it's more extreme or intense than it actually is.
What is the physiological or psychological mechanism that actually makes hypnosis work?
Basically, the reason why hypnosis works, it's using the power of suggestion to influence the subconscious mind. What we're doing is we're tapping into the subconscious, and the subconscious is where it provides the lasting results in a person's exhibitive behaviors. So the subconscious mind is the primary influence on the person's attitudes, their beliefs, their behaviors. And hypnosis is the tool that we use to reprogram the subconscious mind to make the lasting changes to, say, undesirable behaviors and thought patterns that are evident in the conscious mind. So what we do is we use hypnosis is used to change your fundamental beliefs in the way that in which you view yourself and others, and the underlying reasons why you feel and you act the way that you do. So if you can imagine it like this, Rob, the brain is like a tape recorder.
Right.
Your thoughts are like recordings in your mind, and the thoughts that you have throughout every day are really just recordings being played back. And once your mind is programmed to think a certain way, then that's how you think. And if this is the way of thought is hindering you from living up to your full potential, then you can benefit from hypnosis. So what we do is we use hypnosis is used to reprogram old thoughts and beliefs to give you more desirable behaviors and attitudes.
All right. Now, I can understand how hypnosis would work as far as the reprogramming aspect, but when it comes to past life regression or getting someone under hypnosis to remember more details about, for example, a crime scene, how does that work?
Well, with regards to the crime scenes, we really have to be careful because we don't want to create false memories. That's one of the issues. Anything when we're doing these regressions, for example, okay, there's two types of ways. Different people will work in different ways. What we do is an age regression, and we stay within the life of the individual, right?
Right.
So anything that's been the subconscious mind will hold anything that's been seen or said throughout the entire person's lifetime, right? So when we bypass that critical factor, we can actually regress that person back to that event or that time and actually have them pick up on that situation where they will actually remember the event in that particular situation.
Interesting. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't hit the part about the past life regression. That's a little bit different, but did you want me to continue on with that?
Yes, please. Yes.
What happens is that a past life regression is a little bit different. What happens is sometimes when I do hypnosis, a person, depending on their spiritual beliefs, will regress back to the time before birth and actually spontaneously jump into another life. Now this is in their belief system, and as hypnotherapists, we don't judge, we don't criticize, we don't do anything of that nature. We just basically deal with what emerges, and sometimes just by dealing with those issues in a past life and then bringing them back through that past life into their future life will actually help that individual resolve the issue.
What was it like the very first time you did a past life regression and you had this person talking to from a totally different place in their personal time-space continuum?
It's a really fascinating thing. I mean, there's so much to be learned and whatnot. Like I said, I don't have any spiritual beliefs that way. I just deal with what emerges. And it's just fascinating. It actually, the first time that it happened to me, it totally threw me, and I sat in that room and I had to actually think back on how to approach the situation. It was just a very mind-blowing experience.
Exonation, John Marinelli's my special guest. His website is marinelli-hypnosis.com. And John, People go to hypnotherapists like yourself for weight loss, for anger management. Stopping smoking, I would imagine, is one of the biggies these days. Mm-hmm. How long does it take for a person who is one of your patients? They come to you and say, "John, I've got this smoking problem. I'd like to quit." How long does it actually take? How many sessions does it take before the person actually succeeds to stop smoking?
Well, the smoking is an interesting situation. We use the hypnosis for different modalities, but if we're talking specifically about the smoking, here's what happens. We classify them as two different types of smokers. You have your habitual smoker that'll come in, and basically what they do is they picked up the habit because it was just something to do, okay?
Right.
And if you have maybe one or two sessions with them, you can actually get them to have the withdrawal out of their system. Okay, they'll take all those toxins out of their system, and within one or two sessions, they're good to go. probably have a 98% success rate with people like that. Okay, provided though, now here's the key, that they want and they desire change. If they don't desire that change and they've been goaded into going to see a hypnotherapist, or they've been goaded to stop, then they won't, and they will continue on. So it's always best that they realize that they want to make the change. The other situation with the smoker is that we find that smoking is attached to an emotional issue. Now, what happens is there might be a deep-seated issue here where there's either an emotional or psychological issue that is attached to having that cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
So if that cigarette is your best friend, it will continue until we can either find that issue and neutralize it, or maybe replace it with another habit. So that session may take maybe 6, 7. But the thing is that I don't like to take it out any more than 6 or 7 sessions, because if that's the situation, then we're dealing with something that's a little bit more of a deep-seated situation, and then they should be referred to a psychological help, a psychiatrist of that sort.
What is the youngest age for somebody who may want to seek the assistance of a hypnotherapist like yourself? For example, they want to get they want to have help studying, concentrating in class, and so on.
Oh, actually, the best time to we can use this at any age, but we're finding that I won't do anything with individuals under 18 years of age without parental consent. But what happens is that the best people for hypnosis are usually kids
mm-hmm.
in that age group, because they're already halfway there, and they can be helped with a lot of things as far as memory is concerned, as far as self-esteem issues are concerned. It's a beautiful thing, and I would hope that people would actually try to encourage their kids, or encourage somebody to actually help them in that regard. But any age is effective. What we find, though, the older you get, is your mentality becomes more. I guess you have more preconceived notions, and you have a chance to build up your critical factor, if you will. So it takes a little bit more work with people as they get older.
I would imagine older people are also so set in their ways that any problems or any habits that they do have
mm-hmm.
are a lot harder to break psychologically as well, physiologically.
Well, they are a lot harder to break because they've had that much more time to ingrain it into their psyche. It's not to say that they can't be helped, but again, we get down to this issue: do they really want to change, and do they want to make an improvement in their life? And if they do, we can help them.
John Marinelli is our special guest. www.marinelli-hypnosis.com. That's MARINELLI-HYPNOSIS.com. John and I will be back on the other side of the news as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network and on the X Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
John Marinelli is my guest, www.marinelli-hypnosis.com. And John, self-hypnosis, how does this work? And how does a person actually put themselves into a hypnotic state and then take themselves out?
Well, there's various ways that we can do that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We can actually teach an individual how to do that by coming through the 2 sessions to do that. But there's also a way that if they write the affirmations that they want to do, what they want to consider in their life, okay, and they'll listen to those things. The best way maybe to do is record them on a tape,
mm-hmm.
okay, and if they play them back and they do this for maybe say 21 to 30 days, okay, they'll see a change. Now, what the key to the affirmations that you're doing or whatever you want to change in your life is to make sure that there's nothing negative that's actually said in the suggestions that are put in there, because the words are very powerful. It's language has a great effect on the subconscious mind. So you have to really be careful on how you structure it, right? And basically, it's just sitting and going within, and you eliminate all the, you just let it happen. And this is what we try. Sometimes people that have problems going into hypnosis for me, they're trying too hard to go into hypnosis, and it actually doesn't work. So what we tell them to do is just let it be and just let it happen, and you will find that if you let it go, it'll work for you. And you just listen to it. You can, if you listen to it, say make it a habit to listen to it at a certain time of day. Pick a date where it's going to be really quiet for you. You can maybe play your favorite music in the background, and just go into a dream state, and it will help.
Well, is there any difference between hypnosis then and a meditative state?
Well, meditative state is more of a focused concentration. So when you do a meditation, you have to take your conscious mind and you have to physically say, people will do different types of meditations. So, they'll think, I got to focus on this particular point of light. And when you do that, you're asking your conscious mind to actually get involved. The whole idea behind hypnosis is that you got to bypass that critical factor so that your subconscious mind is affected. And that's where it's different. It's total relaxation and total passivity, if you will, okay?
Okay, so let's say that I go to you and say, John, I've got a problem with my weight. I see food, I start going crazy. I've got to eat. Mm-hmm. How can you help me?
Well, what we normally do in the process is the way that I do my sessions. It's very client oriented, and it's a very customized approach that I use. Mm-hmm. So the first session that we might have might take a couple of hours, and what I do is I do a complete history. I'll ask certain questions that will help me in the process of putting together these customized suggestions that I'm going to use. Okay,
yeah.
So it's a fairly intensive process. We want to know all kinds of, if you're taking medications, this type of thing. And what we'll do is we'll customize those things, and we'll just, after we've done that, we'll sit you in a chair and we'll start with the process.
How long does it take normally for someone to be hypnotized?
I would say, you mean time-wise, Rob?
Yeah.
As far as
pretty well almost instantaneously.
Wow.
What it's a phenomenon that we experience every day. People don't realize that we go in and out of hypnosis every day. And I would say maybe about 30% of the 30 to 40% of the population, if you put them into that state, they can drop rather quickly. Other people are more analytical, if you will, and they want to question everything. So those are the type of people I have to work a little bit differently with and spend a little bit more time with. And usually they're my better subjects, because what will happen is that once they accept the idea of going into hypnosis, it's just amazing the transformation that happens for those people.
What's the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy?
Well, hypnosis is the actual tool that we use, okay? And hypnotherapy is basically the moving of the individual to the state that they want to be.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay.
All right, now where does the subconscious come into play?
I'm sorry, Rob, where does...
subconscious. All right? Where does the subconscious come into play when you're dealing with hypnosis? How does it say to the rest of the body, okay, we're going to let this happen. We're going to allow ourselves to be reprogrammed.
Gotcha. Okay, so what the subconscious mind is this. Is maybe if I can just explain a little bit what it's about. Okay, the subconscious mind is everything, if you will, except conscious thoughts. Okay, and so obviously that encompasses a lot. It's not in the one region of the brain. Rather, it's continuously changing as the as the conscious thoughts in your mind change. Okay, so maybe if I can give you an example, if I mention breathing, for example, okay, that's a subconscious activity, and it occurs throughout your life, and you're not breathing consciously, let's say. Now the reason that I brought it up now, it becomes a conscious thought, so it becomes in your conscious mind. But as we continue talking and we start doing other things, then you'll forget about that breathing. Okay, so basically what it is the organic flow of activity between the conscious and the subconscious mind.
And when you're hypnotizing somebody, are you dealing with the subconscious?
Absolutely. That's what we use the hypnosis for. What we do is this, if you will, there's a barrier, if you will, between the conscious and the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And my job as a hypnotist is to distract the conscious mind and get around this critical factor that we call it. And once the critical factor is distracted, everything will go into the subconscious mind. Now, depending on your moral beliefs, your core values and whatnot, I cannot affect anything like that. You will only change according to what you believe to be true, and then the conscious mind will act on that.
So am I correct in thinking that even if I am hypnotized, if I want to go back to the way I was before, then my mind will say, okay.
If you're in the conscious state, yeah. In the subconscious state, it will, because it's the subconscious will override willpower. And this is why we have sometimes problems with smokers.
Mm-hmm.
You can, or anybody that says I'm going to be adamant about not doing that. Willpower will only last so long, and then what'll happen is that it'll break down, and your subconscious mind will take over and make you do what you actually believe. And until that's reformulated, or reprogrammed, or replaced with another habit, because if you're taking one out, you always replace with something else. That's how the change is effective. And it's almost like a behavior modification, but always at the subconscious level.
How would hypnosis be used in the business world?
Well, there's a lot of applications really, in as far as the business is concerned. Let's say, maybe if I can give you a scenario, say if you supervise a staff, okay, and at some point in your career, you're going to run into maybe a few of these problems. You might have a team that doesn't function properly, and you don't know what to do, right? You might find yourself having preconceived opinions about an employee, and you don't know why. You can never seem to get everything done in a day, or you can't seem to get ahead to the next step. So hypnosis can be used in varying degrees in different applications, right?
All right. So I'm a businessman. I see that my staff needs to be motivated. They need to pay better attention. They need to focus. How can hypnosis help my staff?
Well, absolutely. We can actually do stuff to actually give them the motivation that they need, the self-esteem that they need. It's just a matter of getting them into the hypnotic state, right? Once they're in that hypnotic state, we present the suggestion to them, and if they're willing to accept the suggestion, it'll happen.
How would hypnosis work with anger management?
Same type of thing, really. Hypnosis is really simple in that state. That's the critical thing. Once we can get the individual to that level of hypnosis that we need them to be in, because as we go into hypnosis, we go into different levels, and that's what we judge as we go there. Once we get them to the state that we know that we can work with the subconscious mind, that's when we present the suggestion, and it just works. Transformations are unbelievable. Like, my background, I was always a skeptic. I have a more or less a science background,
right?
But some of the things that I've seen in working with people and actually applying the different modalities, it's just a wonderful transformation that you can do within a matter of sessions, really.
Without breaking any client-patient confidentiality, what has been the most amazing transformation that you have seen as a hypnotherapist?
The most amazing transformation that I've seen. Okay. Without breaking any I'll give you just maybe a little bit of a background. I had a young woman that came into me, and she was totally messed up, and she was thinking about committing suicide. She was abused in her life, and it was a real sad situation. And when I took on the case, it really didn't come to forefront. I worked with her for about 2-3 sessions, and by about the 5th session, her whole transformation. There was a total transformation. She began to, you can see it in their physical makeup. When she came in, she always, she was looking at the floor, very dejected, didn't have any self-esteem whatsoever. And what I did is I worked on building her self-esteem, and within days she came back, with that peppy step in her gait, and it just was wonderful to see. And she was having problems with her husband, and she was thinking about leaving him and whatnot, and that's all been resolved as just because of the few sessions that we had. And I think that's probably the best thing that I've ever seen in my career so far.
These are stressful times. Can hypnosis help people who find themselves under a great deal of stress each and every day?
Absolutely. We do things with relief of stress, and you'll find that when you go through hypnosis, you even just deep breathing. Sometimes, if you take 3 or 4 deep breaths, is enough to start to calm you physiologically, and hypnosis will only bring you even deeper into that comfortable place.
How would hypnosis improve my moods?
Same thing, Rob. It's bringing you down into that place, and it just giving those suggestions of you make sure that they're very positive suggestions, and people will respond to it.
Tell me, is there any physiological or psychological danger when someone is under hypnosis?
None whatsoever. It's a natural state of mind. Like I said, it's each and every one of us experience it every single day, and it's a state of mind that provides you with the ability to follow suggestion without conscious intent, if you will. But there's absolutely no danger in doing it.
How does hypnosis work with pain? For example, the body is saying, "I am sore."
Mm-hmm.
It's sending the information to the rest of your body, including your subconscious. So how does hypnosis override the pain?
Well, I won't work with pain clients without the referral of doctors, because pain is something that should be had and shouldn't be eliminated, because under hypnosis you can effectively eliminate the pain, but pain needs to be there to tell you obviously there's something wrong with your body, right? What I like to do is more control management of pain, okay? And basically, when we put someone under hypnosis that's suffering from some pain, what will happen is that the body will produce endorphins that will actually be that much more intensive than actual morphine that they're finding.
Wow.
And what you're doing is you're actually, as they become more entranced, if you will, and the more they become comfortable to it, and the more that they practice it, they can actually control the amount of pain that they're doing. But like I said, never done without without the supervision of the medical staff, and you're always working with them. Even we use it with cancer patients too. There's studies going on with that helps them go through that process.
All right, you and I have to take our final break. John Marinelli is our special guest. John Marinelli. His website is marinelli-hypnosis.com. And John and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network and on the X Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Just a programming note here, X-Zone Nation. Bill Bean will not be with us in the next hour. Unfortunately, something came up. Bill could not be with us. In his place, Richard P. Jackson is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about exorcisms. That's in the next hour here on the X-Zone, and our final guest tonight is E.P. Grondine. And we're going to be talking to E.P. about space flight to humanity. That's in our final hour here on the X-Zone. My guest this hour, John Marinelli. He is a hypnotherapist in Niagara-on-the-Lake here in Ontario. His website is www.marinelli-hypnosis.com. That's MARINELLI-hypnosis.com. Hey, John, it's been great having you with us. It's always interesting to learn something new here in the X-Zone. I understand that there are also athletes who use hypnosis to peak themselves. Now, how would this work? Because if you've got, let's say, one ability level, how does hypnosis help get to the next ability level?
Well, as a matter of fact, Rob, one of my specialties is sports enhancement, and I work specifically with golfers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we're finding, if you take an athlete, they can be pretty much, the same size, the same weight class, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the game always is between their ears. Like, I don't care how technical they are; they can have the same technical ability and whatnot. But the thing that'll give them the last added push is what the belief that's housed between their ears. So, the game is 10%. Well, you understand what I'm saying. Sorry, but anyway, what I do with the individuals is the same thing that I do in any other session that I have. I sit down and I customize a program for the athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what sport; it can be any sport, any class of sport, or any age, whatever. And what we do is we give them, the killer instinct, if you will. And it's helped in a lot of cases. And what we do is we find a way to actually trigger those thoughts when they're on the field. So if we take golf, for example, what I do is I learn the way that they actually play on the field. So I'll follow them around the field and just watch their way of play. And then what we do is we anchor the feelings from the time that they tee off at the first tee. So anything that they do is anchored to the gripping of that club. And we have them go through a routine. And I use, in my practice too, we use a lot of what they call NLP. It's neuro-linguistic programming. Like I said before, that language is very precise and specific. And using the right language and combining that with visualization, combining that with imagery, combining that with hypnosis, it's just a beautiful mix and a beautiful tool. And they do it. And like my guys on the golf course, they'll come in and they're much better to play with. I have wives come to me and say, "Hey, what did you do to my guy? He was an idiot to play with." And
hey, John, I hate to do this, but we've run out of time for tonight. John Marinelli has been our guest, X-Zone Nation. www.marinelli-hypnosis.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break at 6.5 minutes past the hour with Richard P. Jackson talking about exorcisms as the X-Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario.